Something big is happening in the AFC North, and it could shake up this Sunday's clash between the Steelers and the Browns. A surprise trade late last night has the football world talking, and Steelers fans, you'll want to hear this. But that's not all. Aaron Rodgers just made some bold comments about the Steelers' offense that are turning heads across the league. And wait till you hear the unbelievable stat about TJ Watt. Every true Steelers fan needs to know this one. Before we jump into the latest updates, make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit like, and turn on the bell icon so you never miss any breaking Steelers news. Alright, let's get into it. The Cleveland Browns have made yet another move, their third major trade in just 2 weeks. This time, they've sent cornerback Greg Newsome to the Jacksonville Jaguars in exchange for Tyson Campbell and a late-round draft pick. It's an interesting swap. Campbell is known for his physical, man-to-man style, the kind of aggressive play that fits well in Cleveland's defensive system. Meanwhile, Newsome is heading to Jacksonville, where his quick instincts and zone awareness make him a better fit for their coverage-heavy scheme. In simple terms, both teams got what they needed, but if we're being honest, the Jaguars might have come out just a bit ahead here. Still, this trade could make a real difference heading into the Browns' divisional battle against the Steelers this Sunday. A fresh cornerback joining the defense, new chemistry, and a lot on the line. It's the kind of setup that could change everything. And trust me, the drama doesn't stop here. Up next, we'll break down what Aaron Rodgers just said about the Steelers' offense and why fans can't stop talking about it. So stay with me, because this story is just getting started. This trade might look balanced on paper, but when you take a closer look, it could actually tip the scales in favor of the Pittsburgh Steelers this week. Here's why. The Browns' defense, led by Jim Schwartz, is built around confusion, constant pre-snap disguises, and post-snap rotations that keep quarterbacks guessing. But with a new cornerback being thrown into the mix, that entire rhythm could be disrupted. You can't just plug a fresh player into a system that relies so much on timing, chemistry, and trust. That means Cleveland may have to simplify things, fewer disguised looks, fewer creative formations. And that's exactly the kind of break the Steelers' offense has been waiting for. Even Aaron Rodgers mentioned this during his recent media talk. He explained how the Browns like to crowd the line of scrimmage with 8 defenders, yet still manage to drop into coverage, a classic Jim Schwartz move. But those complex rotations only work when everyone knows their role perfectly. Now, with Tyson Campbell just joining the squad, that chemistry isn't there yet. Whether he starts or sits out to learn the system, the Browns' defense won't look quite the same this week. And that's a golden opportunity for Pittsburgh. With Rodgers calling out the predictability this situation might create, the Steelers' offense could finally find some breathing room. Fewer surprises, more chances to execute. So yes, this trade might help the Browns later on, but right now, it plays straight into the Steelers' hands. Stay with me, because up next, we'll get into what Aaron Rodgers really said about Pittsburgh's offense. And trust me, it's sparking plenty of conversation. Now let's talk about how this trade actually feels heading into Sunday. Are you more confident about the Steelers now, or a little uneasy? Because honestly, this move by Cleveland changes more than people think. When you bring in a new cornerback midweek before facing one of your biggest rivals, it's risky. Chemistry, timing, and trust, all of that takes time to build. So while the Browns might be thinking long-term, this short-term decision could backfire against Pittsburgh. And here's where things get even more interesting. Aaron Rodgers stepped up to the mic yesterday and dropped some sharp insight about the Steelers' offense. Reporters asked him why Pittsburgh is using more tight formations and heavier personnel this season, and what kind of advantage that gives them. Rodgers didn't hesitate. His answer showed real respect for what the Steelers are doing right now. He explained that Pittsburgh's tighter sets create confusion for defenses, forcing them to defend the entire field while also dealing with physical run looks. In other words, the Steelers are making defenses think twice before every snap. It's a simple strategy, but it's smart. By packing the formation, they hide their true intentions: run or pass, play action or straight power. And that unpredictability keeps opponents guessing. Rodgers called it disciplined football, and he's right. It's not flashy, but it's efficient, and it's starting to build a real identity for this offense. So while Cleveland scrambles to fit in a new defender, the Steelers seem to be finding their rhythm, and that contrast could tell the story of Sunday's matchup. Stay with me, because up next, we'll dive deeper into what Rodgers revealed about how the Steelers' offense is evolving and why it could be the key to their next big win. Aaron Rodgers broke it down perfectly, and honestly, it makes complete sense. He said, "We're using more 12 personnel because defenses keep responding with nickel looks. In simple terms, when teams put extra defensive backs on the field, Rodgers and the offense respond by going heavier, forcing defenses to respect the run. That's smart football. When you have two tight ends and a powerful line, and the defense stays light, you control the game. It's physical, it's strategic, and it opens up the play-action game that the Steelers are starting to master. Now, Rodgers also talked about why he's not throwing deep as often, and his answer was pure football IQ. He explained that most defenses are sitting back in cover two, with two safeties keeping everything in front of them. That setup basically dares quarterbacks to take what's available underneath instead of forcing risky deep throws. So instead of bombs downfield, you're seeing precision passes, quick timing routes, and smart ball placement. Rodgers is keeping the offense efficient, waiting for defenses to make a mistake, and when they finally shift into single high coverage, that's when the deep shots come back. And here's where it gets interesting for the Steelers. With their heavy formations, those jumbo sets featuring Spencer Anderson, defenses will have to bring an extra man into the box. That's when opportunities start opening up downfield. Rodgers even hinted that Spencer Anderson might get a shot at a red zone play this week, possibly lining up as an eligible tight end. He smiled and said, "I'd love to throw him a touchdown pass. The big guy's got good hands." Now, whether that's a real plan or just Rodgers playing mind games with the Browns, it's fascinating to think about. Maybe it's a bit of both, a strategic hint dropped to get Cleveland guessing. Either way, it shows how confident this offense is becoming. Every week, we're seeing new wrinkles, new ideas, and a team that's evolving right in front of us. Stay with me, because up next, we'll talk about how this new offensive rhythm could completely change the Steelers' identity going forward. Aaron Rodgers had one more interesting moment before he wrapped up his press conference, and it caught everyone's attention. He was asked about the new helmet he's been testing this week. Rodgers smiled and said, "I'm just trying out different things, but I'll probably go back to my old one." So, for anyone worried that he's ditching that classic bucket-style helmet we've seen for years, relax. It sounds like he's sticking with what's most comfortable. He even joked about how the new one makes him look like he's wearing a spaceship. Classic Rodgers, serious on the field, but never afraid to poke fun at himself. Still, it's interesting to see him experiment this late in his career. Maybe it's comfort, maybe it's safety, or maybe he's just exploring what works best as the season goes on. Either way, don't expect any major changes soon. That familiar look is staying. Now, let's talk about something every Steelers fan needs to hear. Because what is doing this season is just ridiculous. According to NFL data, Watt has already faced 62 chip blocks through his first 131 pass rush snaps, by far the most in the entire league. To put that in perspective, that's nearly 20 more than the next closest player, Myles Garrett. That means almost half of the time Watt rushes the quarterback, an extra blocker is waiting to slow him down, and yet, he's still putting up elite numbers. That's the true sign of greatness. Teams aren't just game planning for him. They're building entire protection schemes around stopping him. But it hasn't worked. Watt's mix of speed, flexibility, and those trademark ghost and cross-chop moves make him a nightmare for any offensive tackle in the league. He's not just playing defense, he's dictating the game. And the scary part? He's still getting better. Stay with me, because in the next part, we're going to break down exactly how Watt's impact is changing the way offenses prepare for the Steelers every single week. Watt is built different, and every offensive line in the NFL knows it. Sure, he can beat you inside when he wants to. But his real weapon, that lightning-quick edge burst, is what keeps right tackles awake at night. His get-off is elite, even now, and when he bends that corner with a ghost move or a cross-chop, it's almost unfair. There's simply no clean way to block him one-on-one. That's why teams don't even try anymore. They throw tight ends and running backs into the mix, hoping a quick chip can slow him down. But what most fans don't realize is that those constant double teams and chips actually help the rest of the Steelers' defense. Because when Watt demands that kind of attention, someone else gets free. And that's where the ripple effect starts. Guys like Alex Highsmith and Nick Herbig get one-on-one looks almost every snap, and they've been feasting because of it. Just look at Herbig lately. 2.5 sacks, for tackles for loss, a forced fumble, and even an interception, all while missing time early in the season. That's insane production for someone still getting back into full rhythm. And it's not just about stats. It's about how Watt's presence tilts the field. When the offense is forced to plan around one man, the rest of the defense can play faster, freer, and with more confidence. The pass rush becomes a wave, relentless, unified, and dangerous. That's the beauty of having a generational player like TJ Watt. His impact stretches beyond his own numbers. It transforms the unit around him. And the scariest part? The Steelers are just getting started. Stay with me, because in the next part, we'll look at how this entire defense is feeding off Watt's energy and turning into one of the most feared groups in football. You know what's crazy? Some fans have started whispering that Nick Herbig might be playing even better than TJ. What right now? And sure, if you only look at pure efficiency numbers, maybe that argument makes a little sense. But let's be real. That entire debate exists because of TJ Watt. What is the reason Herbig gets those one-on-one chances in the first place? He draws so much attention, so many chip blocks, so much game planning, that someone on the other side is always free to hunt. Herbig's been phenomenal, no question about that, but he's thriving inside the chaos Watt creates. Think about it this way. If the roles were reversed, if Herbig were the one getting double-teamed every snap and Watt were the one getting clean rushes, TJ would be wrecking offensive lines every single play. That's the difference between being great and being the focus of every offense you face. And Watt still finds ways to dominate even through the extra attention. His pressure, his strip sacks, his relentless motor, they ripple through the entire defense. You can see it in Cam Hayward, who keeps winning his one-on-one battles. You can see it in Keanu Benton, who's quietly becoming a force inside. This defense feeds off Watt's energy, and his presence has turned them into one of the most dangerous turnover machines in football. Over the past few seasons, there's been one consistent reason the Steelers always have a chance. Number 90. He's the engine, the tone setter, the guy who makes everyone around him better, and sometimes I don't think he gets nearly enough credit for that. So when you watch the Steelers' defense fly around on Sunday, remember what's behind it. It's not just one man getting sacks. It's one man changing the game for everyone around him. Because TJ Watt doesn't just play football, he elevates it.